Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this SpeedGaming presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer Invitational League Playoffs. This is a matchup between Swirly Coin Brewing, represented by Homemade Beer, and Rampant Revenant, representing Team Did You Check Your Boot? I am MindDM, and I am joined on comms for our Casual Boots matchup this evening by Smirk JD. Smirk, how are you doing?
I'm doing outstanding today. Thank you for asking, my DM. I am super excited to watch this race. Homemade Beer is one of my very first mentors, so I'm definitely excited to see what he's going to show us today, and I'm very curious to see what Rampant Revenant has got to offer too. I haven't kept much track of him, so I'm really excited about this.
It's nice to finally have the playoffs underway. Open League's playoffs started last week, but the Invitational League had a week off to get everything in working order for playoffs. And we ought to be having a good deal of fun here in just a very short amount of time.
Yeah. While they're getting started here, just in case if everybody doesn't know yet, this is the Courage Pendant. So that is a casual boots mode, which is also my favorite mode. I think Homemade Beer has mentioned before that it's one of his favorites as well. So one of the most fun modes, in my opinion, because you start off with those boots and the sword, you can dash away, you get to warm up doing the escape sequence, and then you're just going through, climbing through everything.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about when do I go make the escape checks. The escape checks are just right there, and you get to do them right off the hop. You don't have to think about it later.
Exactly. That's a big plus for me. But I have seen people skip the back of escape, even in casual boots before.
That's a thing you can do. You can save a couple of seconds doing that if you really want to gamble that there's nothing in those 3 checks in the back. And we are off. We're going to start with a glove in the house. So we'll see if either of our runners tries to grab an early bomb from the lift rock there. Doesn't look like Beer's interested.
And it'll be just a moment here while they sync up the times here. So it looks like Beer's way ahead already, but his timer is actually about 4 seconds ahead. So.
Yep, neither of our runners seem to have cared for the 50-50 shot at that one bomb. When you have the boots to get into the back of escape, it's a little less important. It was something that actually trapped me back when I was doing Challenge Cup. An opponent of mine had a glove in the house and just farmed himself a bomb for the back of escape, and I wasted a whole lot of time looking for bombs elsewhere.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's clever. I would not have thought to do that.
But it is that mode where you have those boots right off the hop, and you hope to see times from runners of this caliber. Are we talking about 5:10s here? Sub 5:10s, maybe?
It's very possible with pretty much anybody in the Invitational. Getting a sub 5:10 in cast boots is very up there, especially if they get something to help it out, like a Master Sword or a hammer or something like a firearm.
Looks like we have our sync now, so Homemade Beer about half of a dash line ahead.
It looks like Rampant Revenant was checking for the drops there from guards, and it looks like they're on just the regular heart tool. I wasn't sure if that was 2 hearts dropped or just 1.
They don't seem to be cooperating with him all that well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Homemade Beer seems to have decided, I'm not going to worry about it. The boots are going to do for the back of escape. I'm already up to 40 rupees, 10 more, which I can find somewhere in the village if I really have to go there. That'll do.
And Homemade Beer did decide to get the little bit of magic refill in the uncle's hallway. So he was able to use the fire rod here for this ball and chain guard. So that's going to give him a little bit of time as well.
Yep, so far, and admittedly we're only 2 minutes and 45 seconds into this thing, we're seeing small little optimizations from Homemade Beer that are... They've given him about a screen's lead at this point.
Yeah, usually where he's at right now, I'm happy if I'm under 3 minutes, and he was well under 3 minutes. So definitely doing really well on this escape.
Of course, we talk about this like the single screen is going to mean all that much in the grand scheme of things. This is rando. We have to go find all of the items still, and routing and understanding the logic is going to mean a whole lot more than just a little bit of an execution advantage through the escape sequence.
I
This
don't know,
might be the only time the whole game where we're going to see both of our runners in the same place at the same time.
I don't know, mind him. El Rocco in chat is saying that this is an insurmountable lead and that this race is officially over. So I don't know.
Yeah, I have to wonder because I had actually said that jokingly on a different commentary months and months ago with a good buddy of mine, OK Aaron, who I hope is doing okay out there wherever he is. I have not seen him racing lately, but I made exactly that comment while we were commentating an escape sequence.
That's awesome. All right, there's the map. So they will be needing to check the chest in the sanctuary once they clear escape.
Raiding the poor box, a classical hero tactic.
So I wonder if anybody's going to take like a fun Mindium play and go up the mountain now, especially with that lamp. I was going to say even without the lamp, but now that the lamp is there, the mountain is in logic. Not much you can do up there, but it's in logic. And I know you like to make that play, Mindium.
It's a little spicy if you don't also find either a mirror or a hookshot to gain a little bit more advantage than just 2 checks. But if one of those happens to be sitting in the poor box, and Beer will show us in just a second, maybe you do.
Beer getting out of escape at 5:04. That's an incredible time. And Rampant right behind him at 5:19. So very, very solid escape times here. Okay, Green Pendant was Desert, and Red Crystal was Tower of Hera.
Looks right to me, and we're going to get the Bonk Rocks check, of course, in casual boots. This is one of those Sphere 1 locations. You walk out of the sanctuary, and there it is. Try not to forget.
I don't know, getting both the lamp and fire rod, I feel like Hera has got something in the basement. Probably just the big key, but...
It's certainly possible. It also puts something like, say, the Vanilla Big Key location of Eastern Palace in logic.
It does, which is much nastier. It's just like you gotta get that before being able to clear it. I was just a piece of heart there on Lumberjack Ledge, so... Unless agate is required for Darkhold access, we will not be seeing it today. Oh, I was about to say, I would get that 300.
Yep, you saw the double take. He looked at it like, it's just rupees. Oh, wait, it's 300 rupees. Hold on, I think I'll take that.
That's a lot.
I wonder if it had been a 50 if he still would have taken it.
Yeah, that's a close one, because he was at 40 before, or no, 60, right? Yeah, 60. No, 40, because 20 was the dropped in. I mean, I would have taken it, but that's definitely a choice.
Seeing Tier 1 tree pull those small magic decanters, a few more fire rod shots on over for now.
Oh, you're going to get that bomb. Wait, is it a 50-50?
No, those Bonk Rocks are a 100% bomb.
Oh, they just picked it up. As it, okay, I didn't see it on the screen. I was like, what happened? Where'd it go?
No, he dashed into it from the north, and so it was an instantaneous pickup because it didn't have anywhere else to go.
All right, that insurmountable lead has been achieved with Rampant only farming 1 bomb there. instead of 2.
Yep, suddenly surmounted and then bailed out because we're going bombs, bombs, bombos, and then just a piece of heart. Almost, game. You were really close.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. And that's all the fire sources we could ever hope for. And there's the mids. Okay, Jet Seed maybe? I'm hoping for Pendant Meyer and Pendant TR. I'm going to see a sub-hour. Let's go.
Yeah, Homemade Beer did have one of the quicker times in Kaz Boots Week, as I recall. Maybe, was it the second fastest overall or third fastest and the other 2 were on the same seed?
Not too sure. But
It's
I would not be
been a
surprised.
while since Kaz Boots Week, but I recall that there were some pretty quick seeds to come out of that. And I know beer was involved in one of them.
Ooh, bottle vendor paying out. So this seed is definitely a do not check Zora. When you get money like this, Zora's got nothing.
And you've been given all kinds of access. You have both gloves, you have the flippers. It's logical to go there pretty much no matter how you do it, as long as it's race legal.
Right?
Of course it's going to be a scam. We've got a big 20 on Zora. We'll call it right now. Put it in the book.
Yep, I agree. Big 20 on Zora.
Speaking of 20s, just 20 in the back of the bar, not doing a very brisk business today.
Ooh, I would have definitely grabbed that Red Ring.
Yeah, neither of them want it.
I feel like that's a quick enough grab, and the Red Ring can actually save you time in a lot of places, so...
It's not bad. It's better if you already don't have the flippers and you can use it as part of a splash deletion package.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay, a little bit of divergence here. Beer going straight to Mini Moldern Cave, while Rabbit Revnet looks like he's going to the dam first.
Both entirely reasonable. The play on Beer's side means that he wants to try and pair up the dam play with Agina's cave later, while Rampant could either make that choice now or could make the sweep through Ice Rod Cave and hope that he can check Agina later when he has something like the book to go into Desert.
Yeah, and there's a hammer in Mini Moldern Cave, so we're almost to Dark World Access. We're just missing that Moon Pearl. I guess we were just missing the Moon Pearl before the hammer, but even nicer Dark World Access.
Yeah, now it would be full Dark World access. The world would very much be our runner's oyster here, and seeds like that can be terrifying. I can go anywhere and do anything, and what if my opponent does the one other thing that leads to, I don't know, the hook shot?
Right, exactly. Nice use of the fire rod there from Redman in Mini Moldern Cave. Got that full magic refill, and it's like, alright. But you're absolutely right. This seed is looking to be one of those seeds that just opens up for you, and it's definitely scary because it's like, oh gosh, it's not linear. It's not just about execution. You gotta route and read the seed and think about efficiency, but what if, there's like a god route somewhere? And yeah, there's so many things to think about. Okay, so Mindium, you can explain this better than me. Why did Beer fake flipper there?
What he's doing here is hanging on to the water walk that he stored in the run out from Ice Rod Cave, and he's going to activate that by jumping down after he's talked to the hobo. This way he has a water walk going into the Zora area.
Ah, but did you actually need a fake flipper there? Could you have just jumped in normal flippers?
That's a really good question, actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that would break it or not, but in this case, we know that he hasn't broken it, so here we are.
Yeah. All right. According to our tracker, Nochibado, you can just swim normally and keep it. So you don't actually have to fake flipper there.
Yeah, all right. Today I learned.
Yeah. Tyler self-mentioning in chat, it's muscle memory, which it probably is. I wouldn't even remember it. I had it.
And it's always good to stay in practice.
All right, so we're probably going to see Zora here. I would be surprised if they didn't go. We ready to see our predictions, mind you, that it's just a big 20 on Zora?
Do we even have to watch? We know it's a big 20 on Zora, right?
Yeah, let's just cut the stream for like 30 seconds. And
show me.
Oh, that's basically a big 20. It's even worse because it's a fetch quest to a big 20. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so after this, we have what? Agina, the mountain, and basically Saha Eastern, right? That's all that's left. Oh, okay. Big 50. What? Same thing.
Yeah, we were wrong on the denomination, but we were right on the thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, right. Thank you for pointing that out, Pyromance. King's Tomb is also available right now. Ooh, I like this from Beer. He's going from the shuffle spot directly to the dam and probably Akina after this. So he's being very thorough in these early spheres.
And it's going to let him route that in just a little more efficiently. This is a complete, well, maybe not a complete one-off from Revenant's perspective, but there's a little less reason to run down to Agina if that's the only thing you have.
Yeah. It's one of those things that just kind of feels bad. But we'll see if that's where Revenant decides to go to. Starting to look that way. So at about now, our runners are both almost at the exact same spot, going to the exact same place with all the exact same remaining checks. So they are in each other's minds right now.
Beer's going to sight check those 10 sticks and kind of wish that he hadn't, but Revenant's going to do the same thing. Once again, our runners seem to be very intent on making the same kinds of plays.
Yeah, this is one of those seeds where I definitely would rush like Saha or Mountain. Like, but I would have missed this mirror. Oh my gosh, I would have missed it.
And now we have a whole lot of mountain access. That'll get you over to Dark Mountain in point of fact.
Yep.
Of course, you would have to hope that the Moon Pearl shows up there somewhere. If it's in Saha instead, you're in a little trouble.
Yep. Very good point. Now you can still Super Bunny to check the Super Bunny cave.
So called because it will activate the Super Bunny state automatically just by moving through the cave. And let's see, we have Beer heading back west, and looks like we have Revenant heading back west as well. Let's go ahead and see the mountain.
Yeah, this is a very sensible play. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if the Moon Pearl is in Saha, that stinks. But you know, it's just so much density right now. You have a full clearable crystal up there. You know, chances are the Moon Pearl will be up there.
It's an entirely reasonable play, and you can see both of the runners are making it. It makes sense to both of them.
It is. So, question in chat. Tarapera is a red crystal in this one, actually. Desert Palace is green, and Eastern is a regular crystal.
It is one of those nice quality of life updates where you get that little P or C indicator in the top left-hand corner so that you can double check yourself if you were not quite sure on your map check when you get somewhere.
Yeah, I've been relying on that now, especially for cross keys. All right, so Spec Rock was empty. So had I made that mountain play early, that wouldn't have paid off at all. Ooh, Dark World check. I think I saw a red pendant in Ice Palace and a red crystal in Pod. And the other is Thieves Town. The other pendant is Thieves Town. So Thieves Town, Ice Palace, and then Pod is red crystal. So I know some people like to check the rest of the mountain and then come back to Hera in case they find the hook shot so that they can air pod. But these runners are like, no, it's on the way, just do it now. Which I really like.
Particularly when you're still hoping to find the Moon Pearl so that the Dark Mountain actually becomes a viable check for you. I think this makes a lot of sense.
For sure. The hook shot could be super, super buried.
It could be on Dark Mountain and we have a vanilla Moon Pearl in here.
That's very possible. Or Eastern access now. Or not access, but clearability.
Not a vanilla Moon Pearl, unfortunate. The search continues.
Yeah, there's still one item there. That was... Now the question is it the basement? And will either of them skip it?
That's always a dangerous choice, but it's a gamble you can make if there's an item down there.
Wow, that was a very nice shoulder arm fight. And it is the basement, so that small key. Now, having the bow, it's kind of like, oh, well, I already got my item. There's not anything in the basement, right? But... curious.
Yeah, we'll see. Our runners have the option, and Homemade Beer's going to go back in. Both of them with that crystal catch here just a little before 21 minutes in, just seconds apart, really.
Yeah. And Rampant is not, so...
Have to wait out the coffee break here on Homemade Beer's side, but Rampant Revenant did see the magic bag up there on Floating Island.
Yeah, items like that are definitely interesting because it's like, it's not just a nice, item to have, but it's also a check. So it's like, you want to get it because something could be locked behind it. Oh, okay. A cave in Hera basement.
That's another one of those items that is nice to have, but could in some circumstances be required. Speaking of, the site check that Revenant made, well, that Hera basement play may or may not pay out in Beer's favor.
And that is pretty much only in the case of Bumper Ledge, right? That's the only cave locked thing.
That is, now that we know we don't have to do Aga, the only thing that would really concern us.
Okay. Yeah, because they also already have Burna, so logical Spike Cave.
Though I guess we could be in a really weird situation where we have Moon Pearl on Pyramid Ledge and still have to do Aga with Fighter Sword Cape.
That's a good point. Yeah, CS Tutor also just pointing that out in chat as well. very possible. With that empty of a paradox cave, it's becoming increasingly possible. Now, but let's say there's no, that wouldn't really help. I was gonna say, like, what if there's a master sword in? Yeah, a master sword in like Super Bunny. If you do the Super Bunny, get a master sword, then you don't need the cave.
That would be true, but all of this speculation is for naught. Rampant Revenant is going to go back into Tower of Hera and make the basement run.
Alright, looks like Fear isn't going to Super Bunny, and probably going directly to Eastern at this point. You got a full clearable crystal plus Saha.
6 items, relatively easy to acquire, still need the Moon Pearl. This is really where you're going.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you kind of want to put it off until you can do the whole Pod Eastern combo, you know, but I mean, at this point...
At this point, his other option would be to gamble the Moon Pearl on Pyramid Ledge, or
exactly.
some kind of a fetch quest that leads to it, and compared to 6 items worth of density over here, that would just be silly.
Agreed, 100%.
Rampant Revenant picks up the cape as well, is back in Link's house. Here we go, I think we'll see one of these runs over to the eastern area again.
Alright, first item in Eastern, just a piece of heart. Ooh, Revenant checking into Saha's closet first.
If the Moon Pearl's in here, maybe decides to run down to 5 really quick and grab a portal to... well, there's the flute. So not the Moon Pearl, but we could get to the Moon Pearl from there.
Right, yeah, that flute leads to Mire area.
We could even have a Moon Pearl in Desert Palace now. We could bunny walk over and mirror over. Could be in Checkerboard Cave as well, of course. Yep. That's kind of one of the rando classic traps for newbies.
Yeah. I think that was like the first one I learned, so I never did, fortunately, but... But yeah, while you're here, you just clear Eastern. I mean, there's nothing that's going to make this faster besides maybe the hook shot, but not fast enough to make up for coming back to it later, so...
Yeah, there are other things along those lines, silvers, maybe another sword, but it doesn't change enough to say, you know what, I'm still looking for my Moon Pearl, let me go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think we're about to get a vanilla big key over here on Homemade Beer's side.
That's correct. And I think that was map and compass already, so the 2 remaining items are Big Chest and Armos.
I thought you had said the first item was a piece of heart. I saw some bombs.
Oh, okay. Then so then the compass is on.
Yep, there are those bombs on Revenant's side.
Alright, so Eastern basically empty. Any chat predictions? Is the Moon Pearl going to be in Checkerboard Cave, in Desert, or on the Pyramid? As far as locations it can be, that's pretty much it, right? Like, there are no other items that could make it somewhere else.
I mean, we could find another fetch quest and wind up at a fetch quest location, theoretically, so Mushroom could pop out, but yeah. That's really the same thing, it's just kind of a delayed one of those spots.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, Evil J. Bryan book with the Merle on a tablet. Oh, I guess it would have to be Ether tablet, but yeah, that's one of those fetch quest scenarios you pointed out.
Yeah, and we would have to find another sword to make that one work.
Right.
So we've got homemade beer with a very short-lived 2-to-1 crystal advantage. Rampant Revenant's going to go even that one right back up here.
I absolutely love that swag hammer dash from Homemade Beer there. I didn't know you could do that. Like he hammer dashed the pots through the pots and broke the hole in the back of Sauce Classic. That was pretty neat. I like that.
That's a good one. You can also hammer dash through the pot that has the switch under it in the first room in Eastern. I always forget to quick swap quickly enough to the hammer to actually make that worth, but it's a thing you can do.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember to do that as well. Very nice quick kill by Rampant Revenant there. Armos. He will probably also be saving equity and going to activate his flute.
And we'll see as we start running low on locations. Is it going to be Checkerboard Cave? Is it going to be in Desert Palace? It could be on the Green Pendant. Or do we have one of those rando holy grails? Is it just on Pyramid Ledge and Aga is required after all?
That would be rough. But yeah, I would definitely check Desert before doing Aga at this point.
Homemade Beer taking a quick jog to the right there, seeing that we need Quake for Misery Mire today.
Good catch. I did not see that.
And it's Casual Boots. Let's see, are we boots locked in Desert? Of course we are. Why wouldn't we be?
Right?
The randomizer logic doesn't even have to care. It knows you've had the boots since the very beginning. And all of a sudden this is feeling a little like an NMG route on Beer's side. We're making sure to pick up all of these sticks because we just fought Armos Knights.
Yep, he was definitely laughing about it when I went into Desert because I saw the bow on Desert Ledge, and I dodged every single arrow pickup in Desert. So he's showcasing it to me right now.
And Rampant Revenant is having a little time with this Murderdactyl here, down to 3 hearts.
Those are definitely evil. And he decided to go check Checkerboard first, so we'll see what's here. Not there. Oh dear. And Beer has already found the one item here in Desert. There it is. Oh my gosh.
Ah, just a Moon Pearl in Desert Palace. There you go.
Goodness gracious. Alright, well, it was in Desert Palace. For all of those who were guessing before, we have our answer. And this allows him to check Myra's Shed before going over to Checkerboard Cave, so there's a good efficiency play by him. And is that Quake right there? Doors, how do you say it, Mike? Key under...
Yeah, that's Quake right there, the key under the doormat.
Yeah, that...
As Rando does oh so often. And now with that Moon Pearl, our runners can just go everywhere. We've already found the flute while we were looking for it. Pretty much the only mobility thing that they're still missing is the hook shot.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, we could even start looking into potential go mode requirement here. I mean, we're missing the hook shot and the Cane of Samaria, and maybe Ether in terms of items. And of course, swords.
Yeah, that's not a bad set to be at when you're 33 minutes into the game.
Alright, so Beer fleeting over, going straight to Hide Cave. And
Is it
finds
too
the... Oh my
okay,
gosh.
video game. Why not?
Alright, so do you do Swamp Palace here? I mean, you have everything and it's a crystal, but most people like to save that for last.
You're here, it's here, I'd do it now. The only
Which
question is, how go-mody do you want to be about it when you could still be missing Ether and you're definitely still missing Samaria?
right. 2 swords in left side swamp. Looks like Rampant Revenant is also going to that location. Probably going to check Hive Cave. We'll see what he does once he finds that hookshot. We may actually see a little divergence. We'll see.
It is possible I could understand in some circumstances maybe a quick play up to Dark Mountain. You want to know whether or not you're still looking for Ether.
Yeah.
I wonder if either of these runners is really just going to start making this a dungeon rush at this point, thinking, I've got the Dark World access now, just let me hit all of these crystal dungeons that I can full clear, and hopefully anything else that I need just falls into my pocket.
Not having a Master Sword here is a little rough for these dashes. Oh, and it looks like Rampant Revenant is heading towards Pod, so he decided to go with Pod first.
Okay, divergence it is. Let's actually get some new information here. I like it. Of course, with both mitts and hammer and that flute and the mirror, fluting to 5 and going to Palace of Darkness not going to be much of a trial. Similarly,
Right.
getting back to Swamp Palace on Revenant's side, not really going to be all that difficult.
That's a good point from Pyromance in chat. Pod is the other red crystal, so doing Pod first allows you to do Pyramid Fairy along with the Pyramid Ledge. I mean, which is still an option for Beer. You know, you can still go do Pod before Pyramid. And there's our first bottle in Swamp Palace on Beer's side.
Looks like he thought for just a second about going left side first and thought, no, you know what, it may just be a god swamp, let me go ahead and treat it like it's a good dungeon.
Yeah, when you get no map or compass at the beginning, you just gotta try, right?
Meanwhile, Revenant being anything but key locked out of here, we're 2 for 2 on small keys in the front of Palace of Darkness so far.
Beer getting that bomb diver down. Very nicely done.
Finds a third item and a big key, so there's definitely going to be at least one item left in here when he leaves.
And there's the compass too. Okay, just a bunch of small keys on Rampant Revenant's side. Haven't found any meat yet.
Sounds like Palace of Darkness to me. Keys, keys, keys in the front.
Yep. Alright, we are gonna get a Argus fight with the Fire Sword.
Looks like Homemade Beer is going to go for double puff, double spin. Seems to be working out okay so far.
Really need to learn how to do that. That's so much nicer than switching over to hammer every time. Okay, more keys for Pod. All right.
It's Palace of Darkness, should we even be surprised?
Nicely done there. Quick kill on Argus. And nothing so far in Swamp, unless something's in left side. Swamp is kind of dead.
That was 4 items, a big key, and the compass, so 2 items remain.
And Rampant Revenant is showing us the hammer yum. which is one of the, I would call it an advanced tech. You have to get the bomb on the correct pixel, then you have to align yourself on the correct pixel so that you can bounce over there and flip into that.
It sounds more difficult than it actually is to pull off in practice. I definitely remember a time where I thought it was a very, very imposing and difficult looking trick, and it's not easy. It is double pixel perfect, but you can use those menu buffers or pause buffers or whatever you want to actually give yourself enough time to get it lined up. Which is exactly what we were seeing on Revenant's side.
I'm just waiting for the day that somebody is able to figure out how to do hammer jump without the menu buffering at all. Just having visual cues without the menu buffer.
Watch top NMG runners, you'll see it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Pod. Pod just having a lot of hearts.
The Palace of Health, apparently, today. Big Key just led to 10 bombs over on Homemade Beer's side, and he's going to go ahead and make the play for the last item here in Left Side Swamp. That doesn't seem to have done any better than Palace of Darkness has so far.
Yeah. I mean, I like this play on Left Side Swamp. I know that there's a lot of checks out there, but it never gets any faster than when you're already in Swamp. I mean, like doing it right away, you can, dive her down. So you save a little time if you do it before going to the back first. But in the case of a God Swamp, you can skip it altogether. So.
Here is the answer. The Vanilla Big Key chest Left Side Swamp has 50 bucks.
Nothing. All right, so Crystal Dungeons are not really paying out today. Besides what, Hera, maybe? Hera had the bow?
Hera had the bow, and maybe the cape. We have not seen whether or not that's going to pay out for us yet.
Meanwhile, Desert Palace had the Ice Rod and the Moon Pearl. So, I don't know.
How quickly do your suspicions become raised about pendant thieves and pendant ice, I wonder?
Exactly! That's exactly what I was thinking. I was too embarrassed to say it out loud. And yeah, Tyler saw pointing out in chat that a good call by Beer to come check the medallion here for TR, as well as get those 6 checks up here, plus powder actually, so 7 checks.
Rampant Revenant, having a bit of a disagreement with Phase 2 of Helmasaur King, has decided to resort to the bow, which I feel makes a lot of sense when you're down to 4.5 hearts.
But down goes Helmasaur King. Revenant getting his 3rd crystal. And another heart! Wow, Pod.
There was the mushroom. You could have super bunnied for it.
Makes you wonder. Canis Maria?
That can be a dangerous spot for the Cane of Samaria, because you always kind of wonder, do I want to hold on to this long enough to be able to fake powder? But we know where the powder is in this seed, and Homemade Beer may well pick it up while he's here.
I would hope so. But yeah, we did see Ether there on Turtle Rock, so Ether is also required in the seed. It is not just Canis Samaria and a sword. Okay, it is not just Canis Samaria. Alright, Rampant Revenant going straight to Swamp Palace.
Going to get all of the value there that beer did, most likely.
Right, yeah. The only thing he could save here is if he decides to skip left side. Oh, are we getting a spike cave check here? Beer?
Looks like it. We could, I think, also get the ether tablet check now.
Right. Oh. Or skip the ether tablet.
I don't think they had the book that early and were able to check it. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where the book was. No, it was in Hyde Cave, I think, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's an interesting and dangerous skip. I wonder if we'll see that from Revenant later.
Yeah, I feel like it might have just been a mistake. Like he might have just briefly forgot about the book. Because he checked Bombo's tablet with just the fighters. So
And if it was just a mistake, I feel like the save and quit back to the mountain, that would have been the time to do it.
yeah. Yeah, because there's nothing left up there. Alright, so now they're swapping places. Beer is going to pod, while Rapid Revenant is going through Swamp. We'll see if Revenant decides to do left side. But for now, they're just kind of retracing steps here.
Probably a good time then, 45 minutes in, since we're not going to see anything new for just a hot minute. To remind you, if you've been enjoying the show thus far, and why wouldn't you have, let's be honest, go ahead and give these runners a follow. Homemade Beer and Rampant Revenant putting on a show here in this Invitational League matchup for your entertainment on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, and also just a big shout out to Mindium and Copom here tonight, to Nochibato, the tracker, who is tracking both players at the same time, and to the Restream crew on SG to give them follows as well.
Also, welcome, SpeedGaming Portuguese, rating with a party of 8. You are joining in progress a Link to the Past Randomizer League Invitational matchup. This is the first round of the playoffs. Smirk, I know you have a little Portuguese in your background, if you'd like to say a few words.
Seja bem-vindo, gente. Estamos aqui jogando Casual Boots. Oh my gosh.
Now, Smirk is the only one on this commentary team who has any idea what that was, but I'm going to assume from one Speed Gaming channel to another that that was all legitimate.
Yeah, I just said welcome. I like that. PH112, you understood that last bit, so I assume you're talking about that Casual Boots part.
That's a good one. Hopefully everybody understands that, because that is the mode.
Alright. Rampant almost done here with the Argus fight.
Did also choose not to go back when the big key came out in Diver Down Room, so was going to have those 2 items left in Swamp Palace. We'll see if he chooses to go back in for them.
But that is crystal number 4 for Rampant Revenant. So taking the lead in crystal count at about 47 minutes.
And unsurprisingly, still missing Samaria, still has not gotten that sword that Homemade Beer found, is going to go back in for 2 items. The meme is not live today. We've already seen it from Homemade Beer. There is not a sword in Swamp, but You can't know that
Yeah.
until you check it.
Is it one of those like Schrodinger's swamps where there would have been a sword if they didn't check it? That's not exactly how Schrodinger works, but you know what I mean.
Sometimes it feels like that's how rando works, doesn't it?
Right? It's only there if you don't check it.
Oh, and he is going to choose to forego left side swamp. Rampant Revenant going to save a little time here.
And with runners at this level, you know, making skips like this and saving time like that, that could be a difference maker. So we'll see what happens. I'm getting pretty suspicious about Skull Woods. I mean, that's a crystal that you can clear as well.
What
But
happened
that
to your
beat count is
suspicions about the
juicy.
pendant dungeon, Smurf?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hoping they go over there and it leads them to Thieves Town because I feel like Thieves Town is where it's at. That's where the money's at. Canis Maria is definitely in like the attic.
That is a dangerous place to have a Cane of Samaria.
I think it was just 10 arrows on the Bombo's tablet. not the silver arrows.
Was the text 10 shots with your bow?
I think so.
Yeah, that's just a pack of sticks then. And it looks like Rampant Revenant is ready to make that Pyramid Fairy check, heading for the bomb vendor.
Very interesting. I totally expected him to just keep going left. But coming back to this, I like it.
With the mirror and the flute, it's a pretty quick flute to 3 to go ahead and make the checks over in the village side of things.
For sure.
Revenant trying to get a dash off with that bomb, but is getting a little bullied by all of the guards. And Homemade Beer still has, what, the entirety of the Dark Maze to check here? Went to the boss first and still has 1 key left, so that makes sense. And there is Ether in Pyramid Fairy for Rampant Revenant.
This could be dangerous for Homemade Beer. I know he's not a fan of the Pyramid Fairy play in general.
Well, it's a play that's going to happen today, so we'll see how that works out for him. Meanwhile, Revenant, using that hook shot to get across the river, is going to go ahead and start in on the Northern Dark World loop. Graveyard Ledge, not anything particularly interesting, but here pretty soon we're going to find out whether or not the play back into Tower of Hera for that cape is going to have had any meaning.
Yeah, almost there.
And it looks like Homemade Beer is kind of heading towards the back of Skull Woods.
Just bombs on Bumper Ledge, so cape was not necessary today.
Just one of those safeties that it's not terrible to have in hand for the endgame.
And they're converging here in Skull Woods.
Yeah, we'll have our runners sync back up here a little bit. Now, Homemade Beer has done those Dark Mountain checks, knows that Ether is required, and it may be a while before Rampant Revenant gets up there and wants to do TR, because having all 3 medallions in hand, he doesn't need that medallion information any longer.
Yeah, that's a good point. So he may not get that sword until he goes towards TR, and if he's already got Master Sword, he may not even check Hookshot Cave. Now, the one thing that could be interesting is, you know, the powder was up there. If there's something on Magic Bat, then he's going to be missing out if they end up doing Smith Chain.
Homemade Beer throwing away just a little extra magic on that torch puzzle, but is going to go for the slash the Gibdo into the spike strat. Doesn't need any more fire rod shots. And we'll see how nice the Moth plays today.
Staying up in that corner, not being very friendly.
Seems to be a very top left corner of the room Moth, doesn't it?
Yeah. But down it goes.
Revenant with that same strat, also with no magic left over, doesn't really care, going to drop into the Moth fight as well. It's going to be another one of those very short-lived crystal leads for Homemade Beer. Has the crystal overhead while the Moth fight happens on the right-hand side of your screens.
With that mirror in hand, is this a pet check from Beer?
Looks like it. From our perspective, really the only thing that this can still be that would matter would be Samaria, but it is just Couch Cash.
Just Couch Cash. And down goes Makula for Rampant Revenant, just like you said, Mindium, just moments behind. So now
making
what?
Very nice use of that hammer, by the way. I love Hammer Mothula.
Oh my gosh. It's so classy. And by classy, I mean like barbaric and savage, but that's awesome. Looks like we got votes in chat for Kane being in Ice Palace.
Kane and Icebreaker Chest is a thing. It happens every once in a while, and a lot of runners will say, well, I really don't want to go to Ice Palace until I have the Kane, because otherwise it's kind of slow.
For sure. I don't know. I'm still feeling iffy about... I mean, Ice Palace is also a pendant, so... it's one of those things, but I'm still feeling Thieves Town.
We've finally seen a first item out of Skullwoods here, the blue boomerang.
Of course, since it's a crystal and you already have the fire rod, it's the last 2 checks you make. So, naturally.
And the final item is a sword, so now we may run into a situation where Rampant Revenant doesn't get that sword on the mountain.
Very possible. Alright, looks like it's going to send Rampant Revenant into the Leafstown Village of Outcast area. We'll see what he decides to check in here. Meanwhile, Beer is going to do the North Dark World checks.
I wonder if this is going to be a turnaround after checking Graveyard Ledge, or if this is going to go to Catfish.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could see either, but hopefully he doesn't go to Pyramid Ledge without the bomb, because he has access to the big bomb. There it is!
Oh, well, that's go mode. That's go mode for Rampant Revenant at 57 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, there you have it. So Rampant Revenant has just got to go through Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, Beer is still looking for that Ether Medallion and the Canis Maria that we just saw there in chess game. So it wasn't quite Deep Snout, but it was Village of Outcast area. It was in that area.
Yeah, decidedly close too. We had a pretty heavily overworld seed today, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
It will be interesting to see when Revenant gets up to the mountain if he decides he wants to have a look around for another sword or not. Now, another sword could just kind of fall into inventory here. We do have 4 in the pool, of course.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, being this high up of a race, like, do you do that or not? Like, you know, when every minute counts, you know, like you skip left side swamp, you know, you skip certain things here to save those little bits of time, but like, do you take time to go look for the sword?
And this does look like a Pyramid Fairy play on Homemade Beer's side, so he's going to be down to that red cane for go mode.
The nice thing about where, like, so I was more concerned about this play than the Canis Maria. I feel like where the Canis Maria is, that's more likely for him to do than, you know, dipping into the pendants.
Now, I think you're forgetting that Homemade Beer loves to skip Village of Outcasts. That is one of his
Oh,
personal memes. He may do everything else before he goes there.
oh dear. Okay, well, spoke too soon then. Alright,
Meanwhile,
there's the
as
big
we
key.
were discussing the ins and outs of that, Rampant Revenant pulled silvers off of the bridge chest here and just got the big key off of the northern Firelocked side. So Meyer is going to end in fairly short order, and I would say it'll be a blink and you miss it Vitreous fight, but Rampant Revenant has 1 arrow to his name.
Oh gosh, you're right. I just noticed that after you pointed it out. Hmm. Are there any arrow pickups on the way here?
In the back of Meyer? Not that I know of. Now, something could be in Styx's pool, I guess. It's possible.
Yeah. And have we seen the stun prize yet? There it is. Looks like Beer made his way. Beer's about to be going here in a second.
Alright, shows what I know. Homemade Beer going to be right on top of that now. We've had a few lead changes at this point. Rampant Revenant currently with pretty much a 1 dungeon lead, or at least most of 1 dungeon lead.
Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be close. I mean, anything can happen here. Like, not having another sword can make a difference, and then GT routing can make a difference. This is definitely a race. It's very close. So stay tuned, everyone.
Absolutely within the realm of GT routing, especially with that sword advantage. Master Sword climb, not always the most fun thing in the world. Rampant Revenant, noting that single stick, is going to go for some Master Sword spins with the cape instead.
Nicely done there with the Master Sword. That was pretty well done. All right, down goes Vitreous for Rampant Revenant.
Pretty much right as Homemade Beer gets into Mire 2, so here we go. Crystal number 6 on the board for Rampant Revenant, 1 hour, 2 minutes.
So here's the question. If Rampant Revenant does decide to check Super Bunny, I'm sure he'll check, but if he decides to go into Hookshot Cave, is he going to be relinquishing some of the time leads he already has? I mean, it would be worth because we know there's a sword there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, and I'm wondering we're getting run up here to Triple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's some
nice,
good memory.
nice
What?
recollection there.
Oh, gosh. That's incredible. I would never, ever have remembered that.
Yeah, once you're past about 15 minutes in a seed, what even is a tree pole? But here we go, Rampant Revenant knows where the sticks are, just has to go get them. Homemade Beer also pulling those silvers off of Bridge Chest and Meyer is about to get the big key, and well, we're gonna find out. We'll start counting gaps at probably TR entries.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, right, so Record Revenant climbed up the Light World side so he can open the portal here. We'll see if he decides to go into Oshak Cave. I mean, he could, I guess he would probably do TR first, and if he doesn't find a sword there, then he may decide to do it on the way to GP.
Yeah, it's possible. At this point, you really don't want to give away more screen transitions than you have to, so you pretty much have to jump into TR here first, unless for some reason you're uncomfortable with it on Master Sword. When we're talking about invitational caliber runners, though, I can't imagine that's actually a consideration.
Yeah. You're landing a spooky glitch here. Okay, we have an early big key for TR, so looks like stealing the key from Pokey, don't have to go all the way to Lava Chest.
It's always nice to see a go-modable layout for Turtle Rock.
Did he do that a little differently than you typically see? I liked it.
What, the torch puzzle?
Yeah, he did the two on the right first, and then he shot a fire rod shot from down to up on the last one.
Yeah, there's no reason you can't do it that way. It's a little slower, though.
Ah. Okay, Beer fluting over to pick up those 10 sticks he got from the mushroom earlier, as well as a blue goo.
Not bad to have in case of emergencies. It's probably more for magic considerations than health considerations, being that our runners are on 15 hearts blue mail at this point.
Oh. And actually, I think Rampant Revenant's actually on red mail.
Rampant is on red.
Yeah, he found that in the C-shaped house in Village Outcast.
Homemade Beer just a little faster in the village to the one check that actually really mattered. Of course, he's going to need things like that because he has some time to make up here. Revenant already about halfway through Turtle Rock, and Homemade Beer not yet in.
I think I might have distracted you when Revenant went inside. Did you happen to catch the time?
I did not. You distracted me.
Dang it, sorry.
That's
Okay.
fine. We'll do it from Crystal Catches instead.
Okay, that works. I was going to say he got into this room at 107. Exactly. 7.
And it looks like we've had a very generous small key layout here as well. Still 2 small keys in hand is not going to need anything else.
Yeah, this allows them to skip basically everything. He might still check for a sword, right? Because Revenant is still on that Master Sword. Whereas Beer might skip it. Okay, according to our tracker, thank you, Nochibato, and I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. Beer is 3 minutes and 2 seconds behind upon entering Turtle Rock, I believe.
No need for laser bridge on Revenant's side, although is going to have to take care of that little mini Helmasaur. It was going to try and get in the way of the Gain of Samaria block shots.
Alright, we're going to see a Master Sword / Hammer Trinix here on the Rampant Revenant side.
Obviously a fight that is substantially easier with the Tempered Sword, but as long as you're good with the hammer, it does the Tempered Sword damage and you can get the job done.
Very nicely done there on the left side. Oh, but the ice head did manage to land a little bit of ice on the ground. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just one more, I think. Oh, what now? There it goes.
Plenty good enough, setting up to try to get the double spin to start off phase 2. Looks like he got it, and the hammer hit.
And
very nicely done.
Nicely. Yeah, wow. Yeah, GFE pointing out in chat the temperage should definitely make that go faster. The question is, how much faster? You know, I just noticed this right now, but is the powder actually slowing beer down a bit? I mean, taking time to powder those anti-fairies, which is, I would have done the same thing, of course, you know, like refill your health, you know, so on, but like, oh, I see numbers in chat. Mindian, what does it mean? Oh gosh.
That means that Rampant Revenant has collected the 7th crystal and can now enter Ganon's tower, where he's going to have to rummage around through 22 possible locations. Most likely all of them are trash, except for one, the treasure that he seeks, that big key that'll allow him to climb Ganon's tower.
Alright, so as that was explained, you see the numbers in chat. Feel free to jump in and guess which the big key will be. I don't know if we have any prizes today, but congrats from us, you know, if you get it. I went and guessed 11, mind you. What are you guessing?
We'll probably go 13, and we're going to start off with bombs in Hope Room and a piece of heart.
Right.
Now, if the big key is over in Compass Room on the right-hand side, this could be an advantage that Beer could gain. I know that he is very much a Magician Strats router, where you go over to Stalco's room first and mirror out and go right. But if it's further left than the Stalco's room, then the advantage would shift right back to Rampant Revenant if he's going to continue this play.
Also, shout out and thank you to Andrew Bracho, mentioning the time that Rampant entered GT there.
Our big key was not in Stalco's room, as Homemade Beer Takes Down Phase 1 was going with the modified backdoor strat. You really can't zero cycle with Tempered, but you get as close as you can. That was a very nicely executed Trinex fight there.
Indeed.
But Rampant Revenant is already 8 checks deep into the GT basement, has not found the big key yet.
Oh, this is kind of nerve-wracking. Alright, that's 9.
Going to be getting into Rando Room as Homemade Beer waits out the crystal cutscene to enter Ganon's tower. 4 more checks here.
10, 11, 12, and 13. We were both wrong, my DM. Yeah, beer did make up almost a minute in Turtle Rock, mostly from the Trinex fight with that Tempered Sword advantage.
And reminder that Tempered Sword versus Master Sword, but while it's nice on those bosses, there are a lot of things that matters for in the Ganon Tower climb. Once we actually find that big key, the next step in the process still has to occur.
Right. So, one thing to point out too, like it's not just execution difference here that is coming into play. It's also the sword difference itself. The climb is definitely easier with the Tempered Sword and faster.
As expected, homemade beer mirroring out from the Stalco's room is going to head right at least as far as Compass, but Rampant Revenant is behind Ice Armos now. Do we have a Vanilla Big Key or a Vanilla Big Key room? We do.
It is behind Ice Armos. Alright, so that was what, 17, I believe? Right? The one behind Armos is 17? Or is that 15?
That would be 15 through 17, and you checked that first, so 15 is 15. Our winner.
Alright. You guessed 15. Let's scroll up. Okay, looks like Neustria guessed 15. Let's see if anybody else guessed it. I don't see any other 15, so Neustria, congratulations. You have won the Big Key guessing game for Ganon's Tower. GG's to you.
Is Beer going to do the meme? Is he going to do the full right play? No. No, he is not.
Alright, so he lost a little time. The time that he gained, he basically lost doing the Magician strat here, right? It's about a minute to do that.
To go back and make that sweep of the right-hand side, it's probably around there.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing Master Sword and Beams taking just a little while as Rampant Revenant enters the gauntlet.
And I gotta say, the silvers are going to, really, like, if it weren't for the silvers, this would be a whole different scenario, right? Like, Master Sword Silverless Ganon is definitely, like, a very time-consuming fight, whereas Master Sword Silverless Ganon is definitely much more manageable. So, I mean, the Tempered Sword will save some time, of course, but this is definitely Rampant's race to lose at this point, because he's already on line mode 2, while Beer is about to reach random. So.
Not having the greatest first cycle on Silverland modes, but cleans it up in the second one.
And I gotta say, Rampant Revenant really tore up the gauntlet there. Even with that Master Sword, just flew through there.
Making his way right on through some of the more satisfying rooms in the game, just as long as you have the Cane of Samaria, where you can make Wizrobes vanish like magic.
Ever since you pointed out how satisfying those rooms are, I've always just, like, gotten to them and just, like, released a sigh of just, like, ah, oh, this is nice.
You're just so content, aren't you? It's like, oh,
yeah,
well, that was just a nice, easy breather of a room, wasn't it?
Exactly. Well, that was fancy. Little fire rod dash over to the left side. I like that. And then you play cross keys and you have to do the GT climb with no Cane of Samaria, and you're just like hating yourself. So that also happens. All right, big key for Beer at 117, 10-ish.
Looks like we're seeing checks up here in GT from Revenant in hopes that, well, maybe a sword will appear and we'll not have to do Master Sword TDM Ganon.
Oh. I hate shoulder arm. It always knocks me off. I hate it so much.
That is the danger. It's not the worm that kills you, it's the fall onto the spikes.
Mm-hmm. Oh no! Trolldorm being trolly, as usual.
And the worm turns.
But this is definitely
This is a thing that Homemade Beer needs to see. He is going to need a little help here.
oh, very nicely done. Able to switch over to the hook shot before.
And Homemade Beer seems to be having maybe one or two issues of his own here in the Gauntlet rooms. Does not get the Fire Rod Spooky on that Stalco, and now it's getting away from him a little bit.
Was that half magic invalidation chest?
That would absolutely be half magic in the ultimate chest of the game. Something that pays out just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Especially on Master Sword, I don't think Revenant has anything in his bottle. If he does, it's red goo, I think. I don't think he had magic, so. I mean,
Beer not having any better of a time with Silver Lanmo 2 than Revenant did. Had some time that theoretically he could have gained back there and has now given it away. Well, we have a pig sighting. Rampant Revenant has put paid to the wizard, and out comes the pig.
okay, Rampant Revenant dropping into Ganon. Master Sword Silvers.
Master Sword Silvers, we're going to start at an hour, 20 minutes and change. Homemade Beer is still several rooms away from the wizard. Also
Very
seems
nice
to be in a
spot.
bit of a dicey health situation. Speaking of dicey health situations, Rampant Revenant now down to 5.5 hearts. Is on red mail and does have that red potion, so is probably still in okay shape here, but every little bit you start to become concerned when you have not seen that dot done yet.
Well, Ganon is putting himself in nice positions here, so that's good for Revenant. And into phase 3.
Beer also opting to check the ultimate chest of the game, gets that half magic. But it's starting to look like it's going to be just a bit too little too late. The Tempered Sword not enough of an advantage as Rampant Revenant enters phase 4. Misses the torch glitch, but with silvers it's not really a huge cause for concern.
That's arrow number 3. Just needs one more. Gotta be a little bit careful with the magic here. He only needs one more. And there it goes. Get your GGs in chat for Rampant Revenant. All he's got to do now is cross this bridge. There it is, 1:22:23 official time. Very nicely done by Rampant Revenant. Wow, the seed message. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought it was it. Sorry.
That would be a great seed message, but no, there is a second text box to that one. And Homemade Beer is going to be not far behind, halfway, 3/4 of the way through Phase 3 already, as we are joined in the booth by Revenant. Revenant, good game to you.
Thank you, GG.
GG's, Revenant.
I expect we're going to see Homemade Beer join us in just a second, so I think we'll hold off on a whole lot of seed commentary as we get the 3rd and 4th silver sticks into the pig on Homemade Beer's side. Going to have the fanfare play out here, going to be just a little more than a minute in arrears.
All right, GG's in chat for Homemade Beer as well. Crossing over, getting his official time of 1:23:29, about a minute behind overall. Yeah, it makes you wonder about that Dark Magician.
Yeah, sometimes it works out really well, sometimes it punishes you. That's kind of the nature of all of your choices you make in Rando.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Right.
And we are joined as well in the commentary booth here by Homemade Beer. Good game to you.
GG's.
Hey, GG's, Revenant.
GG.
Concede.
You guys made a lot of the same choices. The Moon Pearl was locking you into a very similar path in the early game. Once you got after that, you actually had choices. So if you want to, just talk a little bit about when the seed actually opened up for you.
I mean, these are really annoying seeds, and you get the Moon Pearl, and you have 2 items left to find, maybe 3. So, like, I like to know what those items are. So I like to check Mire and TR. I did Hype Cave first, just to see stuff that might be there. I was thinking Hype Cave into Pod, but the hook shot led me into Swamp. But yeah, basically that.
I did Swamp right after Pod.
Yeah, makes sense. Did you go Hype Cave into Pod, or did you do Pod first?
Hype Cave into Pod, and then Swamp, check the tablet, then Pyramid Fairy.
Oh, okay. That's pretty close to what I did, except with I had a mountain trip somewhere in there, just to check what TR requirement was. But I guess it didn't matter for you once you did Pyramid Fairy.
By the time I went back to Death Mountain, I already had all 3 medallions.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it was really that early pyramid play from Revenant that got him that 3rd medallion, which kept him away from doing the mountain check.
And it kept him away from a couple of the other one-off checks that enabled as well. The powder, the mushroom. Beer, that did mean that you had a sword advantage, but you'd given away enough time making those kind of ancillary one-off checks before getting to your last couple of progression items that you evened it back up pretty close there at the end. You were down, I think, 3 minutes coming out of TR and made it 1 minute and 6 seconds. So that's kind of the way the ending worked out.
Yeah, I was considering all these things entering GT, like what routing do I do for the big key, blah blah blah, like, you know, stuff that doesn't really matter, but things you think about, you know, when you're racing, like high stakes races like these. And like, you know, I pretty much always Dark Magician. Don't do something different this time just because you feel like you should. Just stick to your game. Stick to the game, you know, basically.
It could have been interesting if you'd gone the full meme Dark Magician and actually made the full right play there.
Yeah, I think that's something I only do if I feel really behind, like I've already lost. I would do that, but I don't know. I felt okay. I didn't feel great when I found the red can. I'm like, well, that was actually free, and Pyramid Fairy was kind of being telegraphed, I felt like, here pretty early. It's like, okay.
Okay, so maybe you can answer this then, because that's something you just mentioned that I was really wondering about. Like, you both kind of went to Pyramid Fairy relatively early. I mean, Revenant went earlier, but you both did it. And I was just, I never would have, I didn't expect that, I guess. What kind of led you guys to make that play earlier?
For me, it's mostly just how easy getting the red crystals were this seed. Because there's a Hera and Pod. They're just right there in front of us.
Yeah, pretty much that. You go to Hera, you get a bow, and it tells you it's telling you to go to Pod next, kind of. It's like, okay, well, pod's also a red crystal, so I'll go do that next, and then that's the other red crystal. So that was kind of my thoughts.
Okay. But if, like, let's say the red crystal had been like Thieves Town or something, would you still go to, like, is it because it was pod, like, over in that area, or just doesn't matter where?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I mostly
that's
did
a weird
because I was
question.
just going out a swamp. If
Right.
it was Thieves Town, then I probably would have held off on it a little longer.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. Like,
Gotcha.
like if Thieves Town was a crystal, I would have been in Village of Outcasts a lot earlier. I think that was part of, when you do Hera, a lot of times you check the map, and so I knew Thieves Town was a pendant. It's like, okay, well, Village of Outcasts is going to have to wait this seed. So I kind of did a lot of stuff. I forgot to do Ether Tablet, which I felt bad about for a while, but I was just thinking, like, well, like at some point I was thinking, I'm going to go do Village of Outcasts or clean up Ether, which, like, is a bad choice to clean up Ether. And so I thought, like, I like to not end up in that area if I can. So I'm like, well, I know that that's a thing people do. I'm not going to lose to it. I'm not going to lose to not ever checking Village of Outcasts. And then when I saw Kane, I was like, definitely smork face.
Yeah, when Revenant got that cane there, I was just like, what? So I was happy you made it over there. My DM was a little concerned because he says you like to meme skip Village of Outcasts entirely. So
yeah, I mean, it's a feels good skip if you don't ever touch that area. But I mean, I'm not gonna just completely throw away a race like this by not checking that area. There's a lot of times there's stuff there. So
yeah.
Was that? I'm guessing that Red Cane was go mode for both of us then, or was it a sword? Where was the other sword? Did we have that before Dark World? I don't even remember anymore.
So the other sword you guys found was in Skull Woods, and you found that before the Cane of Samaria. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, for Revenant, that was his Master Sword. For you, that was a Tempered. You found the other sword in Hookshot Cave, and that was kind of a big question we had with Revenant was, would he go into Hookshot Cave looking for another sword or Super Bunny or anything like that? But I guess when you're as good as you guys are, that's not really too important.
Yeah, I mean, you save time with another sword, right? Like, you don't go out of your way to look for one, but because I'm guessing you had similar number of infinite checks left.
Yeah.
Where it could have been. So yeah, I had a lot of stuff left. Smith Chain, South, Dark World, I skipped. I think you did too, it sounds like.
Yeah, I definitely skipped that. I did check K45 and the Stumpy, but then I went back over to do Pyramid Ferry.
Oh, okay. Yes, those are probably the only two other checks you had that I didn't, feels like. Besides Hookshot Cave and stuff, obviously.
Yeah, and we can see that now as collection rates are showing. We have a 143 for Revenant and a 149 for Homemade Beer. So those are relatively low collection rates, all things considered, including, GT Big Key being so deep,
Yeah, that feels like the, I'm excited to watch this back. I really love watching races that come down to the end game like this, where we're more or less in GT at the same time. That's super cool.
Yeah, those checks are the right side GT, and minus the two checks I made on South Dark World and Hookshot Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that because our tracker Nochibaru timed you guys going into TR, and it was a 3-minute difference, 3 minutes and 2 seconds or something like that. And then Sword Advantage, going through TRs, etc., brought it down to around 2 minutes by the time you entered GT. But then Beer did Dark Magician, which lost a little time there. I'm not sure how long it takes to do that right side.
Enough time. If I executed everything else exactly the same, then I probably would have been within 10 seconds of winning.
Yeah,
you probably lose a minute plus.
So that's one of the things, the chat was us here in the commentator booth and the chat. We were all just like, oh gosh, what's happening? What's going to happen? Because, GT routing and the sword advantage, like it was all those, factors and variables that made us like, oh gosh, this race is so close. And it was very exciting. So definitely appreciate it, you guys, for giving us the show today.
Yeah, I'm just glad to put on a good race. Like that's the whole, point of playing this game and having fun. Playing it and watching it, getting to play, excellent runners like Revenant and, others. So, yeah, League's been super fun for that, and I hope people enjoyed it.
Well, I definitely enjoyed it. So, yay.
Yeah, certainly a fun watch. We'll start with Homemade Beer, who unfortunately came in arrears in this one. Final thoughts on this one?
Landmo 2 was fun. That was kind of like what's happening right now. But no, GG's again to Revenant. Thanks again for everyone putting on the show. Looking forward to, I'm sad I couldn't win it for the team. I'm hoping that we have a better time in our future races, because I would love to see a game 4 or 5 at least. Just looking for some more fun modes there.
Yeah, and Revenant, who has put Did You Check Your Boot up 1-0. Final thoughts on the seed?
I really wish I got that sword. I had a sloppy GT climb.
All right, well, thank you both once again for coming out and putting on a wonderful show on this Tuesday evening. I hope everybody out there in chat enjoyed. Anybody else who catches it on the VOD later, hopefully by the time you reach this point, but you were in for a treat. This is game 1 of this series. We'll have the other 2 games. Let's go ahead and look at the schedule here really quick. We have JJo36 versus Werfjig. That is going to be a cross keys matchup in this series between the 2 teams tomorrow at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll see if I can find the other there it is. Tam versus CS Tutor are the Pendant of Power team here, and they are going to be playing Swordless on Friday at 3:10 p.m. So if you enjoyed the first game of this matchup, please come back for more. On SpeedGaming for Link to the Past Randomizer Invitational League tonight, we've had going for about half an hour a couple of more games. On SpeedGaming 2, we have R.D. Walsh representing Tile Roomies versus Solsky representing Pug Trio. Looks like a cross keys matchup there. And on SpeedGaming 3, we have Hitaka representing Shack Tools Dig Game versus Sailor Nep representing the Titan's Mitt. That is a Pendant of Courage match, which I think is green pendant and thus Kaz boots. So we've got some more rando action for you. Stay wonderful, everybody out there. We will bring it to you. Smurf, you want to go ahead and lead us out on this thing?
Oh, sure. I just want to say thanks again to everybody involved, to the Tracker no Chibato, and to the wonderful chat today. You guys kept it really exciting. And again, a huge shout out to the runners for giving us an amazing, amazing show. It was such a close race. We were all on our toes, on the edge of our seats. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.